So when it comes to testosterone levels, everyone's saying things like take supplements, go to the gym, work out, ice your balls, and all of these things are great. They can be important. I do most of these things myself. But there is something that a lot of people are not talking about. And when you get this right, it's actually going to significantly improve your testosterone levels, potentially much more than the other things I've mentioned. Are you ready to hear it? Let's get into it. So what does it take to massively boost your testosterone levels in the year 2025 as it is as I create this? Well, it's one thing. It's called being a fucking man, okay? And before you click off, before you're like, oh, fuck this guy, I know. I wouldn't have wanted to hear this 10 years ago myself, but this is important. I am going to teach you what your father should have, but he didn't, did he? You wouldn't be here in the first place if he had. And don't worry, you're not alone in that. My father didn't either. He was busy working, he was busy providing for me, which is great. I appreciate him, but unfortunately, this caused me to basically be raised by women. And this caused me to learn how to please women, but not in the way you might be thinking. How to please women as far as making them feel okay with me and okay being around me, but not necessarily attracted to me sexually. You know what I'm saying? So let's get down into what it means to be a man. And there's 4 principles I'm going to share with you. When you embody these, when you really work with these, you cannot help but have higher testosterone levels. I guarantee it. So this video is going to probably be very offensive, only because of the day and age we're living in. I mean, 40 years ago, this would have been nothing. But we live in a time of accelerated wokeness and bullshit. Maybe I'll talk about that for just a moment because it's an important thing. So as you can see by the illustration here, we have a little bitch, which is what most modern men are, and we have a fucking man. Oh yeah. And the question is, which one do you want to be? Because right now, you are one of these. And maybe you're one sometimes and one the other time. I'm not perfect myself. I'm still a little bitch some of the time. But you know what? The percentage has significantly decreased. Maybe I was a little bitch 90% of the time in the past, 10 years ago maybe. But now, maybe I'm like, hey, if I'm at least 60% fucking man, then it's a net gain. Well, I like to say maybe I'm in the 80% or 90% these days. It's difficult to say. I'd have to really inventory my life. And here's the truth. Testosterone levels are lower than ever. They're dropping every single year. And there's a lot of factors to this. Toxicity is a big one. There's microplastics in pretty much all parts of modern human bodies. This is a big xenoestrogen. It kills your testosterone levels essentially. But I think one of the biggest reasons for this is the behavior. Men are not acting like men. We're conditioned not to act like men. And I'll talk more about what I mean by this and as I get into the first principle here, which is boldness. Yeah, it's a wobbly whiteboard, I know. We'll get there. And first of all, before I even get into this, when I'm talking about being a little bitch versus a fucking man, when I'm saying which one do you want to be, when I write the word boldness, how do you feel right now? I guarantee you're having some kind of reaction in your body. It may be a very positive one. You may be feeling like, oh shit, yes, that's it. Or you may be feeling like, this guy's a fucking asshole. He's toxic masculinity. He's a bully. And you may have, clicked off minutes ago. Just notice. How do you feel with what I'm presenting to you right now? Because the thing is, you already have belief systems, you already have conditioning in place. It creates a filter to information you hear. Most people will not listen to information that is beyond their current paradigm. They won't even, you can have scientific evidence to support it. You can prove without any shadow of a doubt that it's true. They still won't listen. And so, the thing in the modern world. And if this is making you feel uncomfortable, the things I'm saying, it's great. Because usually the things that make you uncomfortable are the things you need the most. And the other question here I must ask you is, are you happy with your life? Are you happy with your job, your career? Do you make a lot of money? Or do you make just enough to get by? Or are you broke as fuck? Do you have an incredible, passionate, sex-filled relationship? Or are you stuck with some angry, controlling bitch who's denying you sex, who's nagging you all the time, all this stuff? Or are you celibate? Are you afraid to date? Are you afraid to talk to women? and your only date has been with your right hand for the past 2 years, maybe your left hand when you want to, maybe on Saturday night it's lefty, you know what I'm saying? Lefty loosey. So if that is you, now you're going to know why, okay? So boldness. This has been conditioned out of most of us by the end of like middle school, our early, before our teenage years even. That's how it was for me. About 13 years old, this got beaten out of me. Not literally. Boldness is about simply being your true, authentic self, not being a people pleaser. But guess what? Probably 95% of people in the world are people pleasers. They're afraid, they're afraid to upset people. They're afraid to say the things they're really thinking because it might upset someone. So it's better just to like make everyone feel neutral about you than to have someone feel negative about you. But guess what? This traps you. It's a fucking prison. This is what traps men in mediocre relationships and mediocre sex and mediocrity in life in general. Because when you're unable to express yourself, you're living a lie. And people actually don't feel very strongly about you. That's the point of being a people pleaser, is no one feels strongly about you. You just kind of blend in, you're a fly on the wall. They won't have any strong feelings about you. But this also means people do not get to see the real you. I'm guessing that you're actually a pretty cool person. You have some unique gifts. You have some unique personality traits that people would love to see. They would love to see the real you. The you that's you when no one else is around, or maybe just your best friends, whoever it is you feel comfortable with. That is the real you. And I'm guessing that a lot of you watching this, you hide that version of yourself when you're around other people. It's okay. I did it for most of my life, and I still find myself doing it sometimes, but I've come a long ways with it. Nothing gives you more liberation like expressing yourself even when it's uncomfortable. Let me tell you a story. 2 weeks ago, I was at Funnel Hacking Live learning from my boy Russell Brunson in Las Vegas, and Dan Kennedy, who's a badass old school marketing guy, he's talking about not being afraid to upset people. In fact, the more controversial you are, the more attention you're gonna get, whether good or bad. It's like there's no publicity is bad publicity. And it's when people try to please everyone that their business just tends to not do so well. They don't get very far. And it's the same thing with your social life, it's a reflection overall. So immediately I start writing this social media post about some of my true feelings and in this I talk about how essentially modern men have become little bitches. A lot of things I'm saying in this video. Modern men have become little bitches, and that essentially a lot of this is from the negative programming aspects of feminism. Modern feminism is actually anti-female. If you really look at it, look at what they're teaching in feminism. They're teaching women to act like men. And then they're saying that men should essentially act feminine. So women should be dominant, men should be submissive. And this is fucking up polarity. It's destroying relationships. It's killing sexual attraction. This is why no one's breeding anymore. This is why dating kind of sucks these days, is because women are no longer women and men are no longer men. There's a lot of confusion, we could say, right? Whereas truly empowering the feminine principles, the beauty of the feminine, the fertility, the nurturing, the softness of the feminine, that's the feminine gifts. That is not what feminism is teaching. They're teaching women to be heartless and cold and high accomplished. And I'm not saying that women cannot do these things, but my point being that I personally believe modern feminism was a psyop to disrupt the family unit, to emasculate the man, to castrate the man. That's what these behavioral patterns do. Anyways, and then I kind of wrapped up the post by saying that now in the modern world, men feel more comfortable becoming a woman than learning to attract a woman. Woo, that's spicy for 2020, 2025. And it's not like I'm trying to say anyone's wrong. If you're a man who wants to become a woman, I don't care, that's fine. But it's dangerous when it's become a societal norm, another kind of psyop thing, which is also highly a result of the hormonal biological imbalance in modern humans. These chronically low testosterone levels make men feel more feminine. So I make this post, and then immediately my video editor quits, my VA quit, half my team quit essentially. That's right, I have a team, I have people who work for me, etc. Half of them quit on the spot because of this post. And I was like, fantastic, all right. It's a clearing of my business. If people working with me are not aligned to my mission, they should not be on my team. I realized it was this energy that was like holding me back, holding down my own growth, the growth of my business, because there was a conflict of interest. So it was an amplification of this. So I'm just telling you a story of like, this was me stepping into my boldness, which I feel like I've been doing for a couple years now, but this was just another layer of it. And yeah, I got a lot of hate. I got a lot of fuck yeahs and a lot of fuck yous, but it's better than posting something and just having people be like, it was nice. Yeah, I liked it. Cool. You know what I mean? It's like strong. So that's what it is to be bold. And the more that you do that, the more you start to feel, yes, I can be myself. Yes, I'm not afraid of conflict. That's ultimately what it is as well, is not being afraid of conflict. And when you do this, you're gonna be a fucking man. Your testosterone is going to skyrocket. You're gonna go from having these shriveled up little balls, I don't know if you can see these, little bitch has over here. Now those are some balls, that's some high testosterone. Okay, second principle, competition. Competition is essential for masculinity. Men thrive in competition. Think about it, sports, wrestling, martial arts, war. I'm not saying war is good, but obviously it takes a strong man to go into battle. The little bitch here is not gonna go into battle. He's gonna be sitting in his home, huddling under his covers, waiting for someone to protect him. You know what I mean? Or the fucking man's like, fuck you, you're not violating my boundaries in my home. I'm defending my turf, defending my family with my life. That's what we're really talking about. This is warrior energy. So fortunately, you don't have to be violent or anything, but competition is fantastic for testosterone levels. An important thing to understand is that hormone levels are affected by diet, by lifestyle, blah, blah, blah. But they're also very much affected by behavioral patterns. There's a feedback loop. Certain behaviors create more testosterone, and when you have more testosterone, you're going to be more likely to have bold and competitive tendencies. On the other end of the spectrum, when you're being a little bitch, when you live a life of laziness and avoidance and just like instant gratification, it lowers your testosterone. And when you have lower testosterone levels, you're going to be more likely to be lazy, to be addicted to things, to be a little bitch. So like there's a strong feedback loop. So your behaviors really mold your hormone levels. And so that's why you enact these principles. It's going to be a game changer for you. It's not going to be easy. I should have said that at the beginning. None of this is going to be easy. And guess what? That's what it means to be a fucking man. You don't do the easy thing. You take the path of more resistance. Not for the sake of it, but because that's what it takes to get where you want to go. So competition, practical recommendation, join a team sport. I go to a martial arts school. We do sparring, I've gone to tournaments and things. It's great competitiveness and all in good fun. And in my business, I'm always seeing like, okay, how can I push the boundaries more? How can I do what other people aren't willing to do? It's competition, and it's good for the testosterone, baby. Ask yourself right now, do you avoid competition? Do you make sure everything is just like sunshine and rainbows all the time? You're like, no, let's do this. Come on, I'm gonna fucking beat your ass in different ways, right? Principle number 3, male connection. And this is something that's really lacking in guys who are nice guys, who are people pleasers, who have very feminine tendencies. You need to connect with other men. You need to be around men. The more masculine they are, the more masculine you will become as well. But just being around men. This became a very important thing for me. There was a time in my life where, and I'm saying male connection, don't be homophobic, bro. I'm not talking about circle jerks. I'm not talking about edging circles. I'm talking about just being around men, having conversations, expressing yourself, talking about your victories, your frustrations, etc. with other men. A big mistake a lot of men make is that they basically make their partner their emotional center. Like when you're going through something challenging, whatever it is, like the only person you can talk to if the only person you're talking to about it is your girlfriend, your wife, whatever, it's gonna kill polarity. It's not to say you can't have expressive conversations with your woman. You should be able to. It's good to do that. But you should not make them your source of fulfillment emotionally, in that you need to be able to fulfill your own emotional incompletions, your emotional issues, whatever it is. You have to take care of this yourself. And another great way to do this is hanging out with other men. Talking about the challenges you have, that's where you want to bring these kinds of things a lot of the time. Because if your woman is only seeing your your struggle, well, I'm struggling with this, I feel really depressed, I'm unhappy because of this and that and that. You don't feel strong to her anymore. You feel like a teenage boy. You feel like you're her son and that she needs to like nurture you in that emotional way. So it's better to spend time with men and to get your struggles out in different ways. What the little bitch does, look, he's got this frowny face. He's always moody. He's always depressed. He's always like passive aggressive and like blaming his partner for you don't want to have sex with me. Oh, I just want to. And I'm not trying to shame anyone here. Look, here's the thing. Life is painful. Life is full of pain. It's full of struggle. It is. I understand that. I've been through my fair share. I've been through hell and back myself. But what defines us as a man is how you respond to the struggles in life. How do you respond to challenges and pain? Do you be a victim and just like, well, I'm just gonna be moody and upset and like blame other people and post angry things on social media, poor me? Or you're gonna be a fucking man. You're gonna take that pain and let it drive you to do something better, to be the better man, to push harder at the gym, to stop doing some bullshit career that you actually have no heart in and make a fucking difference in the world. Let it push you to make sure that no one else has to go through the pain that you've been through. I think that's one of the biggest gifts of our pain, is that we can transmute it and create a new pathway to where other people don't have to experience it, okay? So male connection is important. Spend time with guys. Again, it could be sports, martial arts, like all these things kind of go together, When men come together, their testosterone is increased. It's just like when women get together, estrogen's increased and they often start to have their cycles in the same time period. And if you're only hanging out with women, you're gonna be more estrogenic, let's just face it. Ask yourself right now, do you feel uncomfortable connecting with men? Do men remind you of your father? That's a deep question, isn't it? And like, for real, this is what I started to realize, was that when I would see men in public, I would often have these like silly like fake stories I made up, like, oh, they're probably like an asshole, a douchebag, like not a nice person. And you know what this came down to was a lack of a strong connection with my father. Early on in my development, my most important years, my dad was busy, he was working. And again, I love him. He took care of us. He did show me how to be a strong provider, and I'm extremely grateful to him for that. But we never developed a strong emotional connection, I guess when I needed it the most. And because of this, I had a difficult time connecting with other men. So just reflect on your life. Is this the same situation for you? But again, better late than never, you can reestablish this relationship with your internal father, so to speak. Okay, and now our final principle, number 4, is lead. And I underlined it because this is a very, very, very important one. Are you leading your life? Are you leading your relationship? Or is someone else leading it? Are you someone else's slave? Do you have to answer to someone else? Oh, sure, I'll get it done. Yeah, okay, don't fire me, please. Oh, sure, honey, I'll do it. Don't be mad. No, don't deny me sex. Are you in control of your life? Or are you letting other people lead you? And this is something I still have to work on, because I find myself sometimes being indecisive with my woman. Oh, I don't know, where do you want to go eat tonight? It's simple as that, but that can have a big thing of like, I fail to make decisions and follow through as a leader. And women can feel that. They feel it. So lead yourself. You make decisions, you set plans, you take responsibility for whatever situation you're in. And I recently had an experience where I felt this very, very tangibly. And like how easy it actually is to shift from a passive role into a leadership role, which is going from being a little bitch to being a fucking man, all right? Just to really, really drill this in here. So I was at the gym with my wife. We usually don't work out together, but last week I had some car issues. As I'm waiting for my car to get fixed, we were sharing one car for a few days. It was her car that we were driving, and we don't usually work out together just because, again, we had one car, so we're like, whatever, we'll go to the same gym. So at the end of a workout, we're going back to the car, and I realized because it was her car, I started to follow her to her car. And I instantly recognized, just because I'm trying to be much more aware of my polarity in any given situation, and I realized that I was following her. She was leading me. And just energetically, there was like, yeah, I'm just kind of going with her wherever she goes. It was like just kind of slapping myself in the face. It was like, no, you must lead. And I simply got in front of her, And just the feeling of like, it was a feeling of instead of, okay, I'm following her to the car, we're going to her car together. It was like, I'm going to the car. I'm walking to the car. So it was just like as if I was by myself and like, yeah, I'm walking to the car. That's what I'm doing. And maybe this seems silly, but it was such a like tangible shift in energy. And that's what I've started doing, is just noticing all these little things I'm doing throughout the day of like, am I leading or am I following? And I don't mean to get extreme with this, like you have to be bossing everyone around you around in every situation. It's not exactly that, but there really is an energy in leading. And basically how you can recognize right now, just ask yourself, do you ever make decisions? Do you let everyone else make the decisions? Do you feel uncomfortable making decisions? Do you always need to like ask someone, is this the right thing to do? What should I have done? Well, this shows that you are a passive follower. You are indecisive, and these are, we'll just say they're more feminine qualities. And I found that I was doing this 100% of the time because I was always afraid of displeasing others. I was afraid of being bold. I was afraid of leading. And it was always like, well, I need to make sure that it's what the other person wants to do, so I won't make the decision. And once I started acting on this, I was amazed at just like how much more masculine I felt, how much the relationship dynamic improved. So all these things, it's not going to be easy, because to be bold can be quite scary. To lead can be scary because now it's on you when things go wrong. You have to be able to accept that as well. And again, this is part of being a man. You're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. It's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot. Sometimes it keeps you awake at night, but it's do you want to be a little bitch who everyone's taking care of things for you and you can just, play your video games and jerk off to Pornhub and, eat your Impossible Burgers? Or do you want to be a fucking man where, yes, you have to face discomfort, you have to do the hard things. It's not always easy, but look at those big balls. Your sex life is better. You make more money. Your life feels more satisfying because you're going through challenges, you're going through struggles, and you're often emerging victorious. So these are the behavioral principles you want to start shaping, practicing. You have to practice these things. Write this down. Write it on your wall, these 4 things, and practice it every day. You could pick one thing to focus on every day, implement it. And once again, this positive feedback loop hormonally, when you stop having less little bitch patterns and you start acting on more manly patterns, your testosterone profile is going to increase very quickly. So it's time to push your boundaries, time to get out of your comfort zone, stop being a little bitch and be a fucking man, okay? Because we all need someone to kick us in the ass now and then. If you've listened to this far, congratulations. You have a very high chance of being a strong man. And I know this is so offensive in our woke world, but this is what's needed, is strong masculinity. And that is what it's about, is calling each other out. Calling each other out when we're being little bitches. So now I recommend that you go and watch my video on nice guy syndrome. You're gonna learn a lot more about what's keeping you from having these patterns in the first place, and that'll keep you going on this journey of your masculine development. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and get my free ejaculation control course through the link in the video description. Now go crush it, boys.